You would think that seeking safety is a human right, but
the first flight taking asylum seekers from the UK to Rwanda under a new government scheme is due to take off later today.
This morning, Greek police again repelled those trying to cross.
Italy's new right-wing government has formally closed its ports to rescue ships run by humanitarian groups.
Refugees are entitled to humane reception and asylum according to the European standards and legislation. So what's happening?
Migration is complex. The old system to deal with it in Europe no longer works.
The old system was created in 1995 and had a focus on the Schengen area. It lets Europeans and people with a visa or permit move freely through the European Union, and this falls under regular migration. Irregular migration is seen as people entering the Schengen area without any official paperwork from outside the European Union. This can be because of war or because someone is looking for job opportunities. Under the public international law, the Geneva Convention, it allows, ensures and protects individuals who become victims of armed conflicts in the world. But this does not apply to economic migrants. Yet in 2021, human rights activists were put on trial for helping others on the coast of Greece.
But there is also, of course, a deeper political problem, and that is there is no European solidarity at the political level. No shared strategy.
There are 4 issues why there are political problems when it comes to migrants in the EU. The Dublin Regulation. An EU law determines which EU member state is responsible for processing an asylum seeker's claim. It places a burden on countries with external borders and leads to a heavier burden in terms of hosting and processing refugees, which leads to tensions and strained relationships in the EU. Inadequate reception and integration support, insufficient resources, slow asylum procedures, and limited access to education, healthcare, and employment opportunities have hindered effective integration and social cohesion. The rise of populist and anti-immigrant sentiments in certain EU member states have influenced the policy decisions and strained the overall response to the refugee crisis.
And if countries do not engage in creating the conditions for an orderly and regular migration, migrants will be in the hands of smugglers and traffickers.
Solidarity.
Terrible disaster at sea, a fishing boat sinking with hundreds on board, hundreds of migrants missing.
A few days later, a submarine with a crew of 5 went missing on a tourist trip to the wreck of Titanic, which was covered in multiple live blogs with hourly updates.
A potential tragedy unfolding with a submarine that is getting minute-to-minute coverage all around the world. It's understandable because obviously we all want and pray that those folks are rescued. But the fact that that's gotten so much more attention than 700 people.
While Greek officials rejected criticism for not acting earlier to save people aboard the sinking migrant boat, some people took to Twitter to highlight the difference between the media and the public's interest, between rescue efforts for the sunken migrant ship and the Titanic-bound submersible.
Let's be clear, this is not a Greek problem. This is a European problem. I think it's time for Europe to be able, in solidarity, to define an effective migration policy.
So if safety is a human right, why does there seem to be a lack of interest in truly helping those who need to migrate for their safety? Because